Hello and welcome to this module on the history of science in Antarctica. I'm Rebecca Priestley. I'm a science historian and science communicator from Victoria University, and I can't think of a better place to be giving these lectures than right here. I'm on Ross Island. This is Scott Base, the New Zealand base. Latitude 77.51 south. We're a little over 4,000 kilometres from Victoria University, which is roughly that way, north, and about 1,500 kilometres from South Pole, which is that way. It's quite cold out here. It's -8 degrees, but there's also a bit of a wind, which is taking it down to -17 degrees with the wind chill. And I'm wearing my sunglasses. It's very bright. It's an overcast day, so the light coming from the snow and from above. Snow blindness is a real risk, so advice is always keep your sunnies on. I'm wearing some amazing clothes provided by Antarctica New Zealand, so I'm not really feeling the cold, only around my ears. I've got a full layer of thermal underwear on, another couple of layers under my jacket, these insulated and windproof, waterproof salopettes, a nice cozy jacket, and some amazing boots that really insulate from the cold. We arrived here a couple of days ago on a Safair flight, a South African flight from Christchurch. Took about 7.5 hours on a Hercules. Most of the people on the flight were US scientists and support staff, and they're now over the hill at the American station, McMurdo Station, which is about 2 kilometres from here. So if your vision of Antarctica is purity and unspoilt wilderness, this is not really the place to be. Ross Island is the most populated part of Antarctica. Here at Scott Base there are about 80 people at the moment, and that's pretty much running at capacity. Over at McMurdo it's a much bigger operation, and they routinely have 1,000 to 1,200 people here in summer. So I've noticed that most of the scientists who arrive here at Scott Base, they really just can't wait to get out of here. They just use this as a staging post for their field camps or excursions, whether it's up on day trips to Mount Erebus or to a long-term field camp out in the dry valleys or the Transantarctic Mountains, or a base out on the sea ice somewhere. It's a pretty noisy place, as well as the occasional seal bark from down here on the sea ice. Most days there are helicopters taking off and landing all throughout the day, both from here at Scott Base and over at McMurdo. There are flights coming in, whether it's the Hercules from New Zealand or other flights going down to South Pole or some of the other stations around the continent. But I love this place. My fascination with Antarctica began when I was a child and continued when I studied geology at university. But now I'm just as interested in the history of the continent, and there's plenty of it right here where we are on Ross Island. Ross Island and the Ross Ice Shelf were named after James Clark Ross, who led an 1839 to 43 British voyage of scientific discovery to Antarctica. Scott Base itself is named after Robert Falcon Scott, who was one of 5 Englishmen who reached the South Pole on 17 January 1912, and that was about a month after the Norwegian team, led by Roald Amundsen, had got there. There are 3 accessible historic huts on this island, 2 of them from Scott's expeditions, and we plan to visit them. Many of the other landmarks around here, Arrival Heights, Observation Hill, Vince's Cross, were named by the early explorers and have meanings that are tied up with early explorations from the heroic age.